the less visible that you are, the more comfortable you become in the excuse and in the hiding and being out of integrity. Once again, Yeadon,
welcome back.
Yes,
welcome
sir.
back to the podcast today.
Yes, sir. Man, after much, technical challenge, which we've overcome, we find ourselves here again today.
Restarting devices, checking connections,
gosh.
changing devices, changing the lighting, changing the audio.
Man, the things we do to show up here consistently, I'll tell you what. Yes, sir. It's good to see
the things we do to be visible.
Yes, well,
around this issue. Oh,
speaking of
visibility, is that a thing?
Speaking of which, as a matter of fact, Yeadon, I find that visibility is such a thing that it has an integral role that it plays inside of our recovery journey. And in fact, what I actually find, hence the name, the title of today's episode, that visibility actually breeds or builds integrity in our recovery journey. There's a big correlation.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right, man.
Yeah. So let's dig into that conversation a little bit today, shall we?
Let's do it.
Cool. So this conversation, the title of today's episode, visibility breeds integrity. It's like a concept or an idea that I've been well aware of for, the duration of my recovery journey, but I had never really understood it in those words. And for me, as I've shared, as we all are inside of this community, I'm still on my recovery journey, and I still run into bumps in the road, and I still am building and working daily to strengthen my recovery framework.
Mm-hmm.
And a big piece of the puzzle for me has been this idea of visibility. And I think this idea of visibility in my recovery journey actually had a lot to do with like the actual impetus for me beginning this work at all.
Is that the story you tell where you got the sign hat that said recovering porn addict walking around downtown? Is that what we're talking about?
Just porn addict. It just said
porn
addict.
Okay. Just But this is that was your pre-recovery hat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So with that, back in 2019, I decided to start getting public with my journey. And I was, at the earlier stages of my recovery journey, I'll say. And I had this inspiration. I was working with the coach at the time. I was moving more into full-time coaching and personal development work. And I decided to start sharing my porn addiction recovery journey and making it public and sharing with others. And I'm not sure how cognizant or aware I was of it at the time, but I think like the idea of being visible and being more public in my journey, I think there was something exciting and invigorating to me about that idea, because I knew that if I was going to be public and I was going to be visible around my recovery journey, it would only serve to strengthen my journey. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think like the seeds of this idea were present even 6 years ago, whenever I kind of began really digging into this work at a deeper level and began sharing my journey with others. And those seeds have sprouted into maturation today, and they still remain a big part of my recovery journey. So much so that I participate to a large degree in what we're doing inside the Porn to Purpose community, just as a community member, and as what we do on our weekly calls in the Liberation Boot Camp.
I mean, even right now, this is streaming live.
Exactly.
To your Facebook profile.
Exactly. Like each week, like we practice this stuff, guys. Like each week, Yeadon and I as well. Every week we post our trackers in the group and we say, hey, here's how I did with sexual integrity this week. And we're visible around it and we talk around it. And I feel a special degree of accountability and onus to be visible to our leadership tier of the community, the Noble Council, Yeadon and Rich and Max. So sharing what's going on in my journey and where I'm struggling and what I'm doing to stay in integrity. So what I find is the more I'm willing to do this, the more visible I am, because I know there's eyeballs on me. It seems to call me to a higher degree of integrity. And this idea, integrity or visibility breeds integrity, has become, the concept has become more sharp and more clear over the coming weeks. And that's the inspiration for today's conversation.
You know, that being visible, it reminds me of one of my previous careers. I worked with a network marketing company as a health coach, helping people lose weight. And one of the things that they encouraged for clients, I mean, it was multi-level marketing. So of course, everybody was encouraged to become a coach, right? Become a distributor for the meal plan that I actually sold, how I made money. But as a health coach, I distinctly remember going to the grocery store and not buying a Snickers bar. Because in my brain, I'm like, oh crap. What if one of my clients happens to run into me and I'm holding the Snickers bar on my way out of the grocery store? And I'm like, I'll lose all credibility as a health coach.
Exactly.
Now, I don't think that actually would have happened,
Right.
but that internal pressure was very real for me. I had my before and after picture on my business card, talking about losing weight, getting to a healthy weight, all that sort of thing. This immense internal pressure to walk the walk and not just talk the talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that visibility is huge. What was it like when you first kind of went visible? What was that like?
It was very scary, man, because, I was like, because I went visible in a very public way. I went visible on social media, and began talking about my porn journey and began offering support to other guys. And so it's like my parents are going to see, my sister is going to see, my friends are going to see, women are going to see. That was the biggest one for me, is like not wanting women to see that, because I don't want to be perceived as some, pervert or creep, talking about porn addiction.
A monster.
Yeah. But I was like, but there was something, as I mentioned, invigorating about the idea of stepping into that, because I knew it would strengthen my journey. There's something that feels energizing about just the truth.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's one of the tenets of the noble code is nothing to hide, nothing to prove.
Exactly.
Really stepping in, living that phrase is like, I don't have anything to hide. I am in recovery for porn addiction.
Exactly.
I'm active in this process to recover and be better.
Exactly. And there's this beautiful concept that I found, and it's really why it was a big piece of the motivation to me even creating the Noble Council. Because what I found was like, porn was significantly dragging me down. Like I was feeling this call to do my work in the world, to be of service, to share my gifts, to teach, to serve, that sort of thing. But there's this like skeleton in my closet of pornography, and it was weighing me down in all kind of ways. And so I stepped into leadership and was doing my work around pornography. But what I found was, as I stepped into leadership, and that's why I think leadership is such an important piece of the puzzle. We talk about what's called the recovery framework inside the Liberation Boot Camp. We've got the Noble Council. What I find is, when I step into leadership, or as I step into leadership, and Yeadon, I'd love for you to speak with this, as I step into leadership, as I step into visibility, it actually strengthens there's like this beautiful giving back factor. Like I'm serving the community, right? So I have this motivation to be in integrity with my journey. But as I do, I'm called to high degrees of integrity in my work, because I got to walk the walk.
Oh yeah.
What do you find?
I find really the same thing. And on top of that, what I've discovered now, I haven't gone full visible on social media. I'm visible on Instagram around my recovery. I haven't cross-platformized it to be visible on Facebook with it yet. I'm planning to. But what I found, as I've just gone public in conversations with my network, with people that I know, talking about my recovery journey, none of my fears materialized. Not a single one of them. Wondering if, oh man, What is my business partner, my first cousin? What is my partner going to think? What are my parents going to think? What are my kids going to think? What are my cousins? What are all the people who know me going to think when they learn that I'm in recovery for porn addiction? Right? Exactly what happens. Like, oh, you're a pervert, a monster, a deviant, whatever.
Yep.
All those fears. But what happened was support and encouragement.
Yep.
Like, oh man, good for you. I remember the first person I told as part of the Liberation Boot Camp process, part of it is tell somebody that doesn't know that you started this recovery program to build that muscle of being visible.
Yep.
And I shared with one of my running buddies. He's like, good for you, man. I'm real proud of you for doing that.
Yeah.
No, there was no blowback, no negative pushback, no demonizing of me by anyone. Only, wow, man, that's impressive. Yep. Good for you.
Yep.
I'm proud. I'm more proud to know you and to have you in my life, knowing that you're on this journey.
Yep. Yep.
Because let's be real, right? We're talking about porn.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's carrying around the entire anthology of porn in their pocket 24/7.
Yep.
Everybody knows it's out there.
Yep.
Everybody knows it's not good. It's not healthy. There's arguments from the industry saying it's helpful, but let's be real, it's not.
Right.
There's no redeeming quality for porn.
Yep.
And that grace is like, oh man, Yeadon is courageous enough to own this about himself and work on it.
Yep.
Instead of just being like everybody else.
Yep.
Not talking about it, avoiding it, hiding in the shadows.
Yep. And Yeadon, what would you say, like being a community leader and being like living in that role in the lives of others, like how has that supported or strengthened your journey, would you say?
I would say it has added fuel to the engine. It's almost like a booster or a turbocharger or nitrous, right? You got a engine and now I have a turbocharger on it. More horsepower, more torque, more whatever. I'm not an engine guy. I know somebody might be like, oh, well, actually, like, I don't care. I don't care. But it's added another level of the accountability, of structure, of support, because I don't want to, it's not that I don't want to fail, because it's most of the time not helpful to think about what you don't need to do, what you're trying to avoid, right? Talking about trying to avoid things. One of the first times I ever drove a car, back roads of Kansas, I was probably 12 driving a farm truck. And my Uncle Terry said, if another truck is coming towards us, do not look at the truck. Look at your side of the road. Because beginning drivers naturally kind of start headed towards what they're looking at. So this leadership, this being more visible, being more open and public about it, has reinforced my commitment to myself to become the best version of me that I possibly can. To dial in my daily habits, dial in my daily recovery work of meditation, journaling, reading, writing, journaling is writing, exercise, checking in with the community. Every time I check in, one, it's for me, but it's also for everybody else in the community. Somebody has to go first in this space to just to let people know this is safe to talk about. Not to get political or anything, but I remember reading that one of the reasons why heterosexual humans wear like the pride pin during Pride Month is not because they're gay, but just to identify that I'm a safe space for you to be gay around me. And stepping into leadership around recovery, being part of the Noble Council, partnering with you, I'm wearing that pin. Porn recovery, recovering from porn. It is safe to talk about this with me. This is a judgment-free zone. There's no shame, guilt, or fear or judgment. And then stepping into the habits and the active recovery work of staying connected, doing the inner work on myself to grow and become the man to whom pornography really is just irrelevant. It's just noise in the background. What do you think about pornography? Honestly, I don't think about it much. I mean, I do think about it because I coach men in recovery. But if I don't really think about it anymore.
Yep. Good stuff, brother. Thank you for sharing that. Brothers, we jumped in here and we really got on a roll, on a bit of a tangent. And I appreciate you. I appreciate the conversation, Yeadon, and I appreciate you kind of digging into where you are on your journey. I do have some specific ideas I want to give you guys. So let's just dig into this a little bit. Okay. So what I want to just offer you guys, and we've kind of already touched on this, but so what I want to offer you here is that the fastest way to build integrity, or a fast way to build integrity, is not just to white knuckle it, right, in secrecy, in the darkness, which is what most men do, but it's actually to be seen and be witnessed more. Porn is something that thrives in the darkness, which we always say, and part of the healing, part of the remedy to that is to bring it into the light, right? Mm-hmm. So today, a lot of men, right? They hide, right? Because they don't want to be seen. They don't want to be seen as weak. They don't want to be visible. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to let people down. And what we want to offer you here today, brothers, is that being visible is not just is not weakness, but it's actually about it's actually going to be the catalyst for your growth, for the next stage of your journey.
100%.
Okay. And a beautiful idea I want to offer is the man that lives like someone's watching, right? Lives differently because he is being watched, right?
We're all being watched,
right? Yeah.
Every man is being watched by somebody,
Yep.
Whether we acknowledge it or not. It is happening.
Yep. Yep. I've often heard integrity defined as like integrity is the man that you are when no one's watching. That really what's defines your integrity. So we get into integrity, right? And by being visible in this work. Okay. So a couple things that are keeping you stuck, right? And hiding is actually what is keeping you stuck, right?
Yep.
Secrecy makes relapse more easy. Right. You don't feel the cost in real time, right? Except for like the emotional pain and stuff like that. But there's no like real world consequence, right? You justify, you rationalize, and you reset the counter silently, right? And then that shame just thrives in the isolation of it all. It's like that shame loop, and there's nothing to interrupt it. Okay. And the less visible that you are, the more excuses, the more comfortable you become in the excuses and in the hiding and being out of integrity.
You know, when you were talking about like resetting the counter, like resetting your tracker silently, I couldn't help but think of a lesson that I took away from a book that I just finished, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And one of the points she makes near the end of the book is with children, that it's not shame, but it's like this emotional tension when stuff isn't right. And letting that tension build. Whoop, timer going off for something on my phone. Letting that tension build, because people only change when they want to change. And having that tension, like, for example, I'll give you a real life example. Just happened last night. Last night, bedtime for my 10-year-old daughter's like lights out at 8:30. Spoiler alert, it's almost never 8:30. It was 9:11. And I was in my daughter's room. She was not having it. I'm not going in my room. It's like, I love you, babe. I'm just going to pick you up and carry you into your room. I'm not going to just like pick her up with love, carry her into her room. She's like, I'm not going to bed. I love you, sweetie. I have 5 minutes left before I am going to start my bedtime routine. So we can get our tuck in. I love you. Good night. Sleep good. I love you. We can get all that stuff done. At 9:15, I'm leaving. It'll probably come as no surprise to any of our listeners what happened next. She sweetly complied, got in. No, that did not happen. She just sat in her own juices for the next 4 minutes. And then 9:15 happened on my watch. She's like, I love you, babe. Good night. Sleep good. I love you. Gave her a kiss on the head. Lights out. And I went to bed. No animosity. No anger. I was totally at peace. But I was very clear, like, you have this amount of time, and then I have to go do what I have to do to get ready for bed. And I know, I mean, she did not say I love you back when I said I love you, which never happens. So she was upset. She was feeling that internal emotional tension. And instead of staying there and helping her navigate through those emotions, I just let her have that tension. And today, I'm going to reconnect with her. I've already connected with her this morning. I'm going to reconnect, especially around bedtime, and say, babe, what can we do to avoid what happened yesterday? Maybe we start 30 minutes early, but allowing that tension to build, because she's 10. She's visible around all of her flaws in the house. All of her brothers know what her flaws are. You know what I'm saying? She can't hide her temper tantrums. So she's very visible around this, and she's also 10, so the analogy breaks down pretty fast. But I think you understand where I'm going with this. Letting that tension build with her is going to help her grow in the future. And for us in recovery, being visible helps build that internal tension to where I do not want to do this again. I do not want to be in this circumstance again. What do I have to do to change and grow? I reset my track. If you reset your tracker by yourself on a Friday night, there's no internal I mean, there's some internal shame and guilt, but there's not that tension of, oh my gosh, I have to share this with somebody. When you're in a community where you're visible, where you're accountable, where you're actively doing the work, and there's a relapse, now there's that internal tension. You bring it to the light. There's no judgment. There's no shame. There's no guilt in the Liberation Bootcamp. Just, okay, what happened, man? Let's unpack this. How did the relapse? Let's really dig in, take hold of that emotional tension, figure out, okay, what do we need to course correct so that when this circumstance happens again, we recognize it. It's like, oh, I've been here before. I'm going around this pothole this time instead of just going straight over it in my scraping the ground truck. So that emotional tension is a critical component of people actually wanting to change. And that's, I think, a huge part of the visibility.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So visibility actually raises the stakes on our recovery. Mm-hmm. You know, it creates accountability, right? It creates consequences for conduct, and it acts as a form of gravity. It actually pulls us into greater degrees of integrity and into greater degrees of alignment.
Yeah. And the consequence, yo, I don't want you to think like, oh, you relapsed. Oh, we're kicking you out. No, it's not. These are just natural consequences
Yeah.
that happen. The consequences happen by themselves. We don't add, there's no consequence from us.
Right. Hey,
It's just, oh, crap.
just going to the group and saying I've reset my tracker again, that's consequence enough.
Yeah, that's enough of a consequence. I don't want to have to do this again. Exactly right. So yeah, not being visible allows us to have that internal tension so that we can change and grow. What else, bro? Any other mic drops? My turn. Take it away. I'm catching the ball and I'm running. So we're talking about being visible, being accountable. And one thing that everybody says, oh, I want accountability. But y'all, when you screw up, nobody wants accountability. Let's be real. Human nature is, I do not want to have to bring this up. I don't have to talk about this. And I think part of it is we feel that accountability is a form of control. But it's really not control. It's more about calibration, recalibrating our internal senses, recalibrating our emotions, recalibrating our thoughts to really put on our detective hat and uncover what was going on that led to the relapse. I don't know how many times in my addiction career, for lack of a better way to describe it, where go on the internet, find the porn, and then wonder, like, what happened? Why am I still doing this? I don't want to be doing this. I want freedom. And accountability gives us the opportunity to recalibrate on the inside, to really figure out the why. When I was by myself, all I had was me to do this work. And let me tell you, I sucked at it. No bueno. Couldn't make any progress. White-knuckle it for a month, maybe 90 days, maybe 100 days, and then fall right back in. So accountability is not about control. It's about having support to design your recovery for success. Real accountability means speaking your truth. It means owning your commitments. Sometimes we talk about accountability like being called out. And that is a scary phrase. I don't like to be called out. I don't like to be called out about anything, if I'm being honest. But if we think about it as being called forward, that changes the paradigm. Accountability is not about calling out somebody. It's like, you blew it. I got you. Strike one. It's more about, hey, man, how can you do this better next time? How can you avoid these circumstances next time? You relapsed at, midnight on a Friday. Well, what time should you be going to bed? What time? Oh, you had to get up at 5 a.m. on Saturdays? Like, bro, you need more sleep than that. It's just not healthy to be on your devices that late at night in general. So it's about calling someone forward and calling someone up, right? We're not being called out. We're being called forward and called up to greater freedom, greater skills, greater awareness on this journey. And what happens is the more visible we get, the more congruent our lives become, the more integrity we have. That who are you when nobody's watching? And someone said, well, God is always watching. It's like, okay, well, I can't see the security camera that God has on the ceiling. But if there were a security camera in the bathroom, it's like, oh, nope, not doing that here. I don't recommend putting security cameras in bathrooms, for the record, right? But The more accountability we have, the more visibility we have, the more integrity we build in our lives, the more congruent our lives become. The more we become way more intentional about our choices. We start to build that pause between stimulus and reaction to like, oh, I recognize this. What choice do I want to make here? I don't have to go with the old default programming of, oh, I'm in pain. Where's my porn pill? You're like, oh, I'm in pain. What's really going on? What just hit my emotions? What is happening here? Okay. All right. You know what? I don't want to watch porn. I'm exhausted. I've been going to bed at 11 and getting up at 4:30 all week. I need to take a nap. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's like, oh, you know what? I haven't eaten all day. And today is not one of my fasting days. The more intentional we get to become with our choices, the more that we self-correct without needing discipline, that's part of it, right? There's no punishment in accountability in this space. It's more of identifying where the path deviated at the earliest onset. So you don't wake up the next day like, oh man, what happened? No, you have the skill set, you have the community, you have the support to be able to identify, oh, I see it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So the next time it's like, oh, not taking that side path, not taking that rabbit trail. I'm going to stick to the path I know I need to be on. Now, you might get derailed by another rabbit trail down the road. But being visible means you're going to have the support and the tools to recalibrate and identify, oh, I didn't recognize this as a rabbit trail, but now I'm going to recognize this type of rabbit trail from here on out. So, brother, well, first, thanks for joining us here on the podcast. Really do appreciate the listeners and the support. If you've gotten with us this far in the podcast, y'all, if you would, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you would, give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps spread the word of recovery so that men can build freedom in their lives. But if you've made it this far in the podcast, here's my challenge. If you've been trying to build integrity in the dark, it's time to turn on the lights, right? Clap on, turn the lights on. If your birth date, if the year of your birth starts with a 2, you might not know what that reference means. But there used to be lights back before you could just tell Google to turn the lights on. They had the clapper, right? It was like these lights were like lights on, lights off, which that would be pretty abrupt, having pretty loud claps in my bedroom. Like, oh, yeah, what are you doing? I'm turning the lights off. Now I can just tell Google to do it or just flip the switch. It's time to turn the lights on. Freedom grows in the light. Science, like plants. Plants turn light into food, photosynthesis. If you got a plant that needs full sun in order to have fruit, in order to have produce, if you plant it in the shade, not going to get anything. You got to have the light to have growth. When you let other men see your fight, your integrity begins to rise. Your integrity begins to grow. Because ultimately, you weren't meant to carry this alone. This is not something that you can manage in isolation. You weren't meant to battle in secret. You're meant to battle shoulder to shoulder, shield to shield, having men at your back, on your sides, to help you navigate this abyss. So, if you're looking for that, check us out on Facebook. We got our Porn to Purpose community on Facebook.
Yes, sir.
Free support there. Various resources that you can find in the group. Support, you can lean in. It's a private group. You gotta connect with Matt or me to get in. So it's not just open to anybody and their cousin. We got our private Facebook group. If you're looking for more support, check us out at porntopurpose.com. We got some free resources available for you. We got the Freedom Framework that you can download. If you're looking to really add jet fuel to your engine, check out the Liberation Bootcamp. It's a 6-month program. Y'all, it changed my life. It changed my life. I was an addict for 34 years, went through the boot camp, and now I'm 903 days sober as of either today or yesterday. Closing in on 1,000 days in the future. And I couldn't be more grateful to the community, to the support, to Matt for his initial ideas of having this crazy porn recovery support group program. But wherever you are in this journey, you're not alone. Check us out, porntopurpose.com. Get on a call with me or with Matt. We can talk about where you are, help you figure out a framework to take the next step so you can be visible without shame, guilt, or fear.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I feel like I just finished a Baptist sermon.
You did it, man. You're good.
That's right.
That's why we bring you in here. That's what we bring in. That's what we bring Yeadon in here to bring in.
It's my 10 years of youth ministry coming through.
Bring the big guns. Brothers, thanks so much for being here today. Yeadon, thanks for joining for the conversation. Thanks for bringing all your wisdom and experience and your example. Man, thanks so much for being here today. We love and appreciate you. We'll catch you on the next episode, wherever you are in the world. Peace and power, my brothers. We are noble men.
We're noble men.
Bye-bye.